Shalom, family. This week's Torah portion is called Bamidbar, which means in the wilderness. Numbers to number. The Torah portion can be found in Numbers chapter 1, verses 1 through chapter 4 and verse 20. The section of the prophets is in Hosea chapter 1 and verse 10 through chapter 2 and verse 22. The reading of the Psalms can be found in Psalms 90 and 91, and the New Testament portion can be found in 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verses 12 through 20. Let's start this off, shall we? So in chapter 1 of Numbers, starting with this brand new month of June, going into the summertime, but of course, according to the Torah, this is his time, this is his month, and he does what he does best, which is putting his people together as he will. So looking at chapter 1, it says, the Lord spoke to Moses in the wilderness of Sinai in the tent of meeting on the first day of the second month in the second year after they had come out of the land of Egypt, saying, take a census of all the congregation of the people of Israel by clans, by fathers' houses, according to the number of names, every male head by head, from 20 years old and upward, all in Israel who are able to go to war. You and Aaron shall list them company by company. As he goes on into this chapter, Moses and Aaron do exactly what Yah tells them to do. But in verse 47, God says, but the Levites were not listed among them by their ancestral tribe, for the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, only the tribe of Levi shall you not list, and you shall not take a census among them, among the people of Israel, but appoint the Levites over the tabernacle of the testimony, over all its furnishings, and over all that belongs to it. They are to carry the tabernacle and all its furnishings, and they shall take care of it, and shall camp around the tabernacle. When the tabernacle is set out, the Levites shall take it down. And when the tabernacle is to be pitched, the Levites shall set it up. And if any outsider comes near, he shall be put to death. The people of Israel shall pitch their tents by their companies, each man in his own camp, and each man by his own standard. But the Levites shall camp around the tabernacle of the testimony, so that there be no wrath on the congregation of the people of Israel, and the Levites shall keep guard over the tabernacle of testimony. Thus did the people of Israel. They did according to all that the Lord had commanded Moses. So let's just stop right there. Everyone who was called according to their tribe, according to their houses, they were all numbered according to their households. Every male that was 20 years old and older, they were numbered according to the census that Moses and Aaron had to take. Those who were available to fight in the armies of Israel, that's what God wanted them to be numbered for. Say, this is my army. It's not just an army of fighting, but an army of ambassadors. But yet, no one knew how many of the people of Levi, the tribe of Levi, there were, since they were exempted from this census. And as we go on into the chapters, say, chapter 2, and on down, we'll get to those. Levites had specific things that they had to do. They always worked around the clock. Someone had to be there to make sure the fire was lit, that the sacrifices of the altar continued to go on, that there was someone always guarding over the tabernacle of meeting, that someone had to do it. And when God said he was ready to go and move, all the Levites had to get together, whether it was their day off or not. It did not matter. They had to put in work, which is why God exempted them from being numbered. They had to guard from any outsiders, those who did not belong, to try to touch the tabernacle or do the work within. They would have been death upon them. A lot of times, death has a dualistic meaning. And again, we'll get further into that really quick. Don't want to take up too much time in this portion, but this is still very exciting to me because death means to be cut off. You can come near and do something that you're not supposed to do, and God will have you shut down and cut you off real quick. He'll mess us up, which is why in the New Testament, Paul talked about letting the man go who was of a reprobate mind. He was always wanting to come to church, but still living not according to what the word of the Lord said. He'll cut it off. But the Levites, again, were exempted from that. And then we get into chapter 2, where God commands how each tribe was to be arranged around the tabernacle, how they were supposed to face according to their numbers, and how some would face the sun, some wouldn't face the sun, some would face according to the mountains, but all of them were arranged in the way that Yah wanted them to be. This just goes to show that it's God who's in control. Yah is always in charge. He places members of the body as he will. He gives gifts according to his will. It's not about us and what we want, what we desire all the time. It still has to line up with the will of the Father. So everybody was placed where they needed to be because that's where God wanted them to be. So what's the lesson for us? If you are doing something, you have a desire to do something, you feel a pulling and a calling, let God put you in the place where you should be, because either we shall do what God said do and not be out of place where we could be cut off from where we're supposed to be. Why? Because God is the one who's always in control. Okay, so now we get to chapter 3, where he gets into the duties of the Levites. Why are we spending so much time talking about the tribe of Levi? There's so much that he talked about with the other tribes, naming the names. And we could get all into that, but this particular time, just wanted to concentrate on the priesthood. Why? Because God calls us kings and priests. So you want to know where you are? You are what God said you were. You are kings and priests. So that to me is so significant, because God always promised that his children of Abraham would not be able to be numbered. So, but yet God numbered the tribes of Israel, but yet in turn he still said that he's going to have children. He will create a people who could not be numbered, and yet he could number these particular people, with the exception of the priesthood. And then God calls us kings and priests. I hope somebody can get something out of that. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say there. All right, so the duties of the priesthood, he said, not only were they supposed to put up and take down the tabernacle as God wanted them to move when it was time to go place to place, but they also had to guard over the whole congregation. In chapter 4, in verse 5, the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Bring the tribe of Levi near and set them before Aaron the priest, that they may minister to him. They shall keep guard over him and over the whole congregation before the tent of meeting as they minister at the tabernacle. They shall guard all the furnishings of the tent of meeting and keep guard over the people of Israel as they minister at the tabernacle. And you shall give the Levites to Aaron and his sons. They are wholly given to him among the people of Israel. And you shall appoint Aaron and his sons, and they shall guard their priesthood. But if any outsider comes near, he shall be put to death." And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Behold, I have taken the Levites from among the people of Israel, instead of every firstborn who opens a womb among the people of Israel. The Levites shall be mine, for all the firstborn are mine. On the day that I struck down all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, I consecrated for my own all the firstborn in Israel, both of man and of beast, and they shall be mine. I am the Lord. Okay, so once again, God is reiterating that he already had this plan in place, that Levi would not be numbered, that they shall be guardsmen over the furnishings of the tent of the tabernacle, keep guard over it, and keep guard over the high priest. Again, going back to that, his children, God's children, cannot be numbered. He said it, that they shall be as the sands of the sea and as the stars of the sky. God said it. And Levi was not numbered. Yet you are called kings and priests. So you have duties to guard the word of the Lord. You have to guard what Yeshua has given, what Yah has given to his people. You have to keep it, guard it, hold it sacred to your heart. Okay, so with all that being said, let's go over to the prophet section of Hosea. This is still a very familiar story to many. This is where the prophet was commanded to take to wife a person of whoredom. And he describes everything that she did and how she should have been cut off, but yet God said, take her back again, and even name children over the things that we were supposed to. Always remember that we are to keep guard over what Yah has given us. That he is always faithful, even when we are not. But don't take his mercy and grace for granted, because even God gets tired. And he can cut us off very quickly. But if we stay faithful, then great is the reward. God bless. Shabbat Shalom.